Think of all the things that you do in your daily life. These things can come to you very easy and seem like a normal part of your life. This could include things such as making your bed in the morning or brushing your teeth. Maybe, if you're old enough, driving to school or work in the morning. It may seem like every person can do these things in life. But what if one day you couldn't do these things at all? These things you did all the time and were an important part of your life. All of a sudden got extremely hard and you needed help doing the simplest of tasks every day. Now I want you to think, how would you react when you lost this ability? In our society, there is a prevalent disease called Alzheimer's disease, and around 6.7 million Americans have been diagnosed with this disease, and these numbers are rising fast. What changes did you see when your mom was first diagnosed?
I feel like the majority of the changes that we saw before we had my mom tested for Alzheimer's was first, she was still working at the time, and she would forget what she had done at work. So she'd always have to go back to work to see if she had completed the tasks that she needed to do for that day, because she actually had forgotten that she had done them. Also, something that we really noticed is she wasn't necessarily somebody that left herself a lot of notes, and she would have notes about everything. She would even cook, and when she added ingredients, she would write those ingredients down on a piece of paper so that she remembered actually what she had added to what she was cooking.
Alzheimer's disease is a type of dementia that impairs memory, thinking, and behavior. Symptoms will start off small, but will worsen as a person gets older. Around 20% of people with Alzheimer's don't have a proper diagnosis or don't even know that they have it. Though Alzheimer's is mostly based off genetics, some potential causes include having little amounts of cognitive use or engagement, not being physically active, and getting unhealthy amounts of sleep. How were you affected by her diagnosis and course of her disease?
At the beginning stage of her diagnosis, I think the biggest thing that affected me was my mom, who I was ultra close with, had actually a lot of anger symptoms towards me. She would get angry when I tried to help her because she felt like she could still do things herself. She would unfortunately just get angry at me lots and lots of times. That's something that happens with people with Alzheimer's, is they have some personality changes. So absolutely, at early diagnosis, I would say I had to deal and struggle with a lot of anger symptoms throughout the course of her disease, and this was a 16-year duration where she went from being great to bedridden. I would say through that course of the disease, I had to learn to be a caregiver for not only my mom, but for also my dad, who was also caregiving for her, for her. And then my role changed. I became the monarch of our family, because unfortunately the grandma wasn't there and the mom wasn't there, so I filled that role.
In 2019, over 120,000 people died due to Alzheimer's disease. This made it the 6th leading cause of death in America. The only treatment is a medication that slows down the process of the disease. Scientists are not currently prioritizing a cure for Alzheimer's disease. Do you think there needs to be more strive for a cure?
Definitely. I do feel like there's a lot of Alzheimer's research being done. I also do think it's very difficult because a lot of the medications aren't necessarily a cure at this time. They are things that basically decrease the progression of the disease. So it's hard to really tell if those things are working, and we don't know how these patients would be if they weren't taking these medications. But I do know they're doing a lot, but the more they do, the better, because unfortunately Alzheimer's or dementia or whatever you're going to call it is unfortunately becoming very prominent in our elderly population. So the more we can do, the better.